Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lauren Fix, and this is the 2022 Hyundai Kona N. Now this is a hot compact SUV. So how do you prove that it's a hot compact SUV? Well, you put it on the track, you run it through its paces on an autocross course, and you get to drive it and have a little fun on the street. If this is your first time to the channel, we do more than car reviews and first looks of new vehicles. We give you car smarts because knowledge is power. Don't forget to subscribe and click that little bell so you don't miss anything. So let's get started with this Kona N. Now we've been waiting to drive this. It's been out for a while, but I want to at least give you a little bit of background. Globally, they have sold more than 50,000 N cars, and that's the full lineup because they've got the Sonata N, the Elantra N, which we've also reviewed, and of course now the Kona N. So we're going to start seeing more of these vehicles, and this is their first entry as an SUV. So does it look different? Well, let's get started. You've got the same LED headlights. Kona was also, by the way, SUV of the year, and that was 2 years ago. So that N denotes that it is a special car, but this is the special performance blue. Now coming down here, besides the LED headlights, you have this red line. That is how you're going to define the fact when the vehicle's coming at you that yes, this is an N-Line. This is their performance model, and it also has this all matte black down here. Keeps it looking good no matter what. Let's take a look at the side of the vehicle and you'll see some differences. This vehicle rides on 19 by 8 inch wide alloy wheels. This is a Pirelli P0 tire. This is a performance tire. Now, what's important to note that if you're going to drive this through the winter, I'd suggest getting off these tires and going for a winter tire. But what you are seeing is gigantic brakes, and they're not the Brembos like you would typically see. They decided to stick with that floating caliper. This brake does fill up the whole wheelhouse, which I think is important that it fills up the whole center of the wheel. The fact is they wanted something that was easy to replace parts, because if you take this to the track, you're going to abuse the pads, and they're less expensive when they're this way than when they're a fixed caliper like a Brembo. This is called a floating caliper. Now going further back, you can see this red line again, denoting the fact that this is an N-Line. There's a lot of features on this car that say N, and part of that is the embossment here. Right here, this is on the performance blue car, that says it's an N. So as you go around the vehicle, you'll see different things that kind of give you that feeling. The upper wing, it's got this double split in it, very similar to the Elantra, just a little bit different because obviously there's not a trunk here. So they put it up here, made it look cool. I like the triangle shaped brake light. Very cool, very cool. They like to come with some very sharp edges on their vehicles. LEDs across here, Kona, and then again, the N-Line denoting, and that red stripe showing you. Now here's something that's cool. Look at the size of this exhaust pipe. They like the bangs and the burbles and the pops. This is just a 2-liter engine, but if you put the right exhaust on it, typically that would be an aftermarket exhaust, you get a great sounding vehicle, and that they've accomplished. You can see they've done a nice job with this rear diffuser as well, but overall this vehicle has a really cool look to it. Now if you saw it on the street, you might not think twice, but as soon as you see that N and that red stripe, you know right away this is going to be a fun car to drive. Let's take a look at the interior. We'll start on the street, and then we'll come back, we'll put it back on the track, and you're gonna come with us. It's a beautiful track if you've never been to Sonoma here in Northern California, up near Napa. It is a top of the line, very competitive track with lots of elevation changes. So we'll start off in the normal mode, just get a regular feel for the Kona, like the Kona we've reviewed before. More than enough power to get it going. But then we're going to change to the drive mode. That is the dial that is next to the shifter, and you instantly go into the sport mode. Now there is an NGS button. It's a little circular button on the steering wheel below the N button. When you do that, it's called the grin shift. Yes! This is fun. I mean, this is really intense. Is it necessary to use it? Every once in a while. You could use it on the on-ramp, you could use it on a autocross track, you could really listen to this motor screaming. So that's one of the things to keep in mind, that this is just a smaller engine, but what it's putting out is some pretty good horsepower, and 0 to 60 is 5.2 seconds, which is very close to the Elantra, which is 5 seconds, and the difference is This is an SUV, it's got a roof rack, it's a little bit heavier. So part of the fun of a vehicle like this is it is an everyday driver. When you change the drive modes, you change a lot of the feelings of this vehicle. Not just the shift points, which some vehicles do when you go into a sport mode, but this literally changes a lot of things. The exhaust note, the steering, the shift points, the overall feel. Listen to that. I love it. The traction and the contact to the roadway, and that's where you get the real feel for this vehicle. And there's a huge improvement on this vehicle over just a regular Kona. Remember, they also make this vehicle as an EV. They make it just as a gasoline power hybrid. There's a lot of options, but this vehicle having a little compact crossover or SUV that has power like this makes this vehicle a lot of fun to drive. Now, part of the fun of this car is that you can press that N button, and as soon as you do, things change. You heard that right away. It changes a lot of the contact points of how the tires contact the ground, but also the handling of this vehicle. You can press the other button on the right side as well to get a different setup. And that setup is you press the center screen and you can change the engine, the steering, the suspension, the transmission, the differential, the traction control, the exhaust note, which I like loud. So you set up your custom 1 and your custom 2, very similar to a BMW on the blue N buttons on the left or the right. And then that NGS, that grin shifting, it makes you grin like the Grinch. Love that burbling exhaust. You again have your mapping, your navigation, your favorites, your seeking, your radio, your setup, and there you can do your vehicle, your navigation, all of your information is right there. And the N mode, that's the one that gets you all the information that you want. Let's take it for a spin in the N mode as we push this little hot crossover, and we're following an Elantra N, so we're pushing it along. This is a fun little car. We don't have a price on it. I'm going to guess at this point, like I've been saying all along, somewhere in that mid-20s, because that's how Hyundai knows to get into the market segment, showcase that they've got a product, they create a loyal following, and people want to return to this brand. And I think that's a huge factor. Overall, this vehicle is nothing different as far as size for the regular Kona, but as far as handling and performance and just the overall suspension, the connectivity to the road and that drive experience is extremely accelerated. You can feel that this is more exhilarating to drive. And then on top of that spirited drive that I keep coming back to, you could really see why people buy these cars and why they have sold 50,000 of them globally of the N-line product, because this vehicle is a blast to drive. The budget price is right. The insurance is low on a vehicle like this. And hey, you could take it right to an autocross course. You could take it to a road course. As a past autocross champion, I can tell you that typically you used to have to go and change the tires, change the wheels, put in all this stuff. In this vehicle, you just take it and have fun. This is not a road course car. This could be an autocross car, where the Elantra, which we've also reviewed, you could have fun with it in a performance driving school. It won't be the fastest vehicle out there, but it'll certainly be more fun than watching from the pits, which I have done that too, and that's just not fun. But this Kona, it's a lot of fun. It's all packaged in such a nice way that I know they're going to sell a lot of these, especially when you hear the price. Let's head around to the back of the vehicle for some more details. Well, I have to say, I had low expectations, thought, all right, it's going to be okay on the autocross course. It was so much fun. As a past autocross champion, this thing would be a fun vehicle. You could take it to the track. You don't have to change tires. You just adjust the tire pressures and go out and have a blast. There are a few things you could do to improve maybe some of the touch points and some of the details, but then when you do that, the price goes up. Now, we don't have exact pricing on this, but I'm going to guess this is going to be in the mid-20s, and they're going to sell a lot of it, because what Hyundai does is they come into the market at a low price, they get a lot of followers, a lot of fans, and they stick with the brand. And as they improve the brand with a hybrid, a plug-in, a sport model, people stay with the brand and they create a very nice loyalty. Very wise marketing on their part. They've done a lot of improvements. This has a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. When I do get the actual prices, I'll put them down below. So I'm sure you've got questions. If I didn't answer your question, all you have to do is put it in the comments. We'll start that conversation. You can find me on all forms of social media at Lauren Fix. And if you got value from this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Check out the channel. You get some car smarts yourself. And remember, when you go into the dealer, they're going to sell you on the car. Our job is to give you car smarts because knowledge is power. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.